All right. First step, what do I usually have you do first? Factor it. That's just to make everything else easier. So when I factor it, how do we factor the numerator? That leaves x minus 1. Denominator would factor into x minus 3x plus 4. All right, x-intercept. That's where it hits the x-axis. So y is 0. How did I tell you to find that? The top equal to 0. So what do we get? One and 0. So I hit the x-axis twice. Y-intercept. If I put in 0 for all of my x's, could be the original, could be the factored, it doesn't matter. If I do it on the original, I get 0 over negative 12, same thing on the factored, which is 0. So y-intercept is 0, and we already have that. How do we find the vertical asymptote? Denominator equal to 0. So we get x equals 3, x equals negative 4. These are lines, so we get the equation, and we're graphing the dashed lines. Horizontal or oblique, if we divide the highest powers of x, 3x squared divided by x squared gives us 3. So that's just numbers, so horizontal, y equals 3. Okay. How many sections of this graph should we have? 3. Think of it as we took a piece of spaghetti, we chopped it twice, we now have 3 pieces. So we need 3 pieces. We have to figure out what each one of them is doing. Little hard to just look at this one and tell, isn't it? So what should we do if we can't tell? We plug in points. Okay, kind of annoying, but you have a calculator, so it's not that big of a deal. If we put in negative 5, you can put it into the original, you can put it into the factored, doesn't matter. Everybody grab a calculator and make sure you are plugging these in so you know how we get it. If you put it into the factored one, I think it's very helpful to view it as a fraction when you do that. So if you're using the graphing ones, you go alpha y equals and you can type it in so you see the fraction. So we're plugging in the negative 5, and what do you get? 45/4. So is that bigger than 3 or less than 3? Bigger, so it's up here. All right, the middle piece. So it has to hit both of these and get closer to our asymptotes. Can you tell me what this is going to look like then? A parabola. It's just an upside down parabola hitting these points and getting closer to the asymptotes. If you weren't sure, what would you do? Plug in some points until you knew. All right, and then we need to know what's happening over here. So we could plug in a 6 would work, 4 would work, as long as it's bigger than 3. All right. So is it going to be above or below Yeah, when you put in 4, you actually get equal to. That's a little confusing, isn't it? So what should we do? Put in another one so we can tell? Maybe let's plug in 5. That doesn't happen very often, but it can. So let's plug in another one. And I get 10/3, which is bigger than my asymptote. So, what this graph is really doing, it's actually crossing over and coming back. But if you just want to say it's bigger and worry about that, that's fine. Remember, on these graphs, the only things that I'm checking that you have exactly are your intercepts and your asymptotes. And then is your graph above or below the horizontal. All right, questions there? Let's try another one. All right, to factor it, what do we have to do on the top? Slip inside. Multiply to 4 and add to -5 would be -4 and -1. Divide by 2. So we get x minus 2, 2x minus 1. The bottom factors into x plus 2, x minus 2. What happens? X minus 2 cancels. And so this reduces to 2x minus 1 over x plus 2. Do you remember from last week, when something cancels, that is a hole on the graph. We need to know exactly where. So the x value, what makes x minus 2 equal 0? Positive 2. So you're just setting the thing that canceled equal to 0. To get the y, you plug 2 into what's left. So if I put in a 2, 4 minus 1 is 3, over 2 plus 2 is 4, so we get 3/4. Does everyone understand how I got the value for my hole? The x came from the thing that canceled, the y, you plug that thing into what's left. To draw that, you put an open circle on your graph. So at positive 2, positive 3/4, I just have an open circle. Everything else is based off this reduced one. So the x-intercept, top equal to 0, that's just when 2x minus 1 equals 0. So add 1, divide by 2, we get 1/2. Y-intercept, if we put in 0 for all of our x's, we get -1 over 2, so -1/2. Vertical asymptote, based off what's left. Denominator equal to 0, so we get x to be -2. Horizontal or oblique, you divide the highest powers of x. It actually doesn't matter if you do the original one or this reduced one. We have now 2x over x, which the x's drop, so we just get 2. So horizontal y equals 2. Alright. So how many pieces does this one have? I can tell what this one looks like. It's going through these points, coming down, getting closer to my horizontal. So over here, I figure out if it's above or below. So what do I do? Plug in a point, so maybe -3. You can put it into the original, you can put it into the reduced. You get the same thing, either way. So if I put in -3, it's bigger than 2, so it's above. Questions?
How did you get reflex on the whole?
So the 3 came from the thing that canceled. X minus 2 canceled. So I set that equal to 0, so that gave me the x value of 2. The y, I plugged 2 into what remains. And that's where I got me. Other questions? Okay, how are we doing with these? Better than yesterday? Oh, you were gone yesterday, you don't count. All right, should we do another one? Maybe one more together and then try some on your own? All right, let's do this one.
Oh, we saw that, okay.
Mhm. All right, what's the top factor into? What about the bottom? -3 and positive. Okay, what happens again? So we just get x plus 4 over x plus 2. So there is a hole in the graph. How do you find the x value? Well, for the whole, I'm looking for just the ordered pair for that. So we look, the x minus 3 canceled, that gives me my x value. So what makes x minus 3 equal 0? To get the y, you are plugging 3 into what remains. So that will give us our y value. So if I put 3 into that, I get, okay, so that's where we have an open circle on our graph. So 7/5, that's like 1.4. Just an open circle there. Now everything else I do is just going to be based off of this reduced fraction. So what's my x-intercept? -4, it's what makes the top 0, so we get -4. Intercepts are points. How do we find the y-intercept? 0 for x, so 0 plus 4 is 4, 0 plus 2 is 2, 4 divided by 2 is 2. Vertical asymptote, what do we do? So we get x to be -2. Horizontal or oblique, if we divide our highest powers of x, we have x divided by x, which is 1. Since that's just a number, it's y equals 1. If you get x on the bottom, what is it? It's 0, yeah. Okay. Do we need test points on this? Or can we tell? We can tell. I'm just going to go through these points, getting closer to our asymptotes. Make sure when you draw it, you don't accidentally close your open circle. And then we have a point down here, so this one's below the horizontal.